Hey everyone, I am going to review this book, Drive by Daniel H. Pink. And it's Drive, the surprising truth about what motivates us. If you're anything like me and you often think, I wish I could do more, I wish I could get more done, I wish I could achieve more, and then you realize that the only way you're going to do that is through being motivated to do that. So I saw this book, I didn't see this book. I saw another book by Daniel H. Pink called To Sell Is Human. I bought that, absolutely brilliant, so good I instantly looked up the other books he's written, found out about Drive, went and bought Drive. And my summary of the book is, it's about, this is a sentence from the book, I think, it's about the difference between what science knows and what business does, because he uses business as a model to show management systems. He makes a very good point that management is not a natural thing that's always been there. It's not part of nature. It's something that was created by human beings, and therefore it's a technology. And most management, like most technology from a long time ago, is outdated and no longer that effective. So management in business was designed at a time when people were workers. Most of them did repetitive, boring tasks, labor, agriculture, mining, whatever. And the way to motivate them was to pay them. And if you do more of it, you get paid more. And if you work longer, you get paid more. But that's only because of unions, of course. But that actually doesn't work in most work that people do nowadays. It doesn't work in education. If you've got a person who wants to learn something and they're learning it voluntarily through their own effort, they will keep learning. They will do incredibly well. If you have to say to them, right, even if you take somebody, for example, who's good at maths, let's say, and you said to them, right, if you get top marks on your next maths test, I'll buy you this, or I'll give you that, or there's a reward. Then what happens is you turn a principle, which is I want to be good at maths for the sake of being good at maths, into a payoff. I want to be good at maths so I can get this monetary payoff for this gift. And that destroys the intrinsic motivation that was initially the principle. And I see a lot of people do this. I see parents do it with their children. Oh, if you clean your room, you'll get pocket money, which is disastrous, because what that does then is the child no longer is cleaning their room for the sake and the benefit of being tidy and being responsible. They're doing it for a payoff. And then it becomes, why the hell should I ever do anything unless I'm getting paid for it? So the capitalist system whereby do this many things, will give you this much money, just destroys intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is a lot more powerful. That's kind of the crux of the book. But more interestingly in there is once you realize that you can better motivate your children, you can better motivate yourself. If you run a business, you can probably better motivate your employees. There's a section here on ROWE, R-O-W-E, results only work environment. Very frightening to implement, because results only mean, right, you've got no fixed hours, you've got no fixed location, you've got a job and you have to get it done, and if you get it done, here's your salary. And when people are given that opportunity, as long as they meet the results, they thrive. Business does much better. There's all examples in here of businesses that were given FedEx days. I can't remember which company introduced FedEx days. The idea of FedEx days, you have to deliver something overnight. You can work on whatever you want, and you have to deliver it overnight. And a lot of companies, their best products, their most, the products that changed their business entirely came from FedEx days, where it wasn't directed work, it was self-directed work. They talk about Csikszentmihalyi in here. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, I think. Hungarian guy who studied flow. Flow is that state where you're just kind of in the zone. It happens a lot with sports people. It has to be a task that you're engaged in volitionally, that just stretches you. There's lots of definitions of it. You know what it is. You've been in it. If you've been doing something, you're totally absorbed in it. You haven't noticed how time has passed. I know a lot of musicians or a lot of artists who, when they were younger, they'd be sitting there working on a piece of art, and they'd go home at 4 p.m. from school, and suddenly it was midnight, and they hadn't eaten or anything, and they were still working. The time just goes like that, but you produce the most amazing work in those states. So it's a really fascinating book. Is it useful? Yes, incredibly useful. There's exercises at the end, and this is the same with his other book as well. His other book is To Sell Is Human, which I'll also do a review on. Exercises at the end which help you to motivate yourself. And one that I find incredibly useful. It's definitely made me more motivated and more focused and less easily irritable over the last couple of weeks, because I read this about 2 weeks ago, and then I reread his other one, and now I'll probably reread this. This is the second author this year, Daniel H. Pink, whose books I'll gladly go back and read again, because I think there's so much valuable stuff in there. I never used to do that. I just used to go from one book to the next, to the next, to the next. And there are a few exceptions of books I've read more than once, which massively impacted my life. I don't think they'd have impacted my life so much if I wasn't so taken on the first reading and then went back and read it. I mean, there are books I've read 5 or 6 times, but they massively impacted my life in a positive way. So the techniques for motivating yourself, and you'll know the reasons and the whys behind this if you read the book. I'll just give you the technique. It's like knowing how to drive a car. I'll show you how to drive the car, but if you want to know how the engine works, then go and find out for yourself. All right. So one of them is to answer these 2 questions. What keeps me up at night? That would be your worries, etc. And what gets me out of bed in the morning? Your motivations. And you answer both of those. And what I tend to do is in the morning on my phone, I'll write the question, a message to myself, what keeps me up at night? And I'll just answer whatever comes to my head. And I'll do the same with the other question. And over time, you're not always going to write the same answer, you're not always going to write the same amount, but over time, it's exploring a subject, and that subject is what motivates you. So if you do it repeatedly, you will find yourself getting more motivated. The other one is the one sentence. If your life is going to be summed up in one sentence, what do you want that sentence to be? That's really useful. It's really difficult as well. I found that really difficult, but it's really useful. Just write what comes to mind. Don't filter. That's a really useful exercise. Now I've jabbered on. I'll just read you a bit from the book. A book that will change how you think and transform how you live. That's quite enticing, isn't it? Forget everything you thought you knew about how to motivate people at work, at school, at home. It's wrong. As Daniel H. Pink explains in his paradigm-shattering book Drive, the secret to high performance and satisfaction in today's world is the deeply human need to direct our own lives, to learn and create new things, and to do better by ourselves and the world. Along the way, he takes us to companies that are enlisting new approaches to motivation and introduces us to the scientists and entrepreneurs who are pointing a bold way forward. Review from the Financial Times. Pink is rapidly acquiring international guru status. He's an engaging writer who challenges and provokes. And review from Richard Wiseman, author of 59 Seconds. I've got that on the bookshelf somewhere. I don't know if I've reviewed it here because I read it years ago. A bold and persuasive call to bring our understanding of human motivation out of the realm of folklore and into the realm of science. Drive will make you rethink everything you do to motivate yourself and those around you. It's a brilliant book. It's really good. I'm reading it more than once. I recommend everybody read it if they're interested in understanding motivation, whether they're employees, whatever they are. Motivation is important. So 10 out of 10, obviously. Excellent book. Read it. Oh, there's another one on the back of it. He's written another one called When, so maybe I'll read When and review that as well. But I hope you enjoyed that. This is Drive, the surprising truth about what motivates us, provocative and fascinating, according to Malcolm Gladwell. 2 million copies sold worldwide, obviously popular, but just because everybody knows something doesn't mean they're using it. Hope you enjoyed the review. I suggest you go and read the book. It's getting 10 out of 10.